Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we got some trouble. When you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Don't worry, be happy now. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Happy. Your landlord say your rent is late. He may have to litigate. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Here I gave you my phone number. When you worry, call me. I will make you happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Thanks, Terry. Cool. Totally.
It beforehand. There we are.
There we go.
Good morning and welcome. Come into our house of hope and love, of peace and justice, of wholeness and healing. We welcome the newcomer and the long-timer. All of you can find a home here at Throop, where we go and love the world from the heart of Pasadena and from the heart of our homes. Welcome to those of you watching via the live stream. Today, our minister, the Reverend Dr. Tara Landers, is not with us, but I was pleased when she offered some of us lay preachers opportunities to speak. If you don't know me, my name is Terry Trendler, and during the school year, I'm a professor at Pasadena City College, but today I will be trying to stop doing that, and I promise there's no quiz at the end. If you're new to Throop, we'd like to stay connected with you. There's an information card in the pew pocket in front of you. You can fill out and put in the offering plate later, or if you're online, Vahe is going to drop an online link that you can fill out for us. Thank you for coming this morning. We're so glad that you're here. Each one of us is a light in the world, and we light our chalice with a flame from our shared candles of hope and witness, and it symbolizes and reflects that light.
That would help. As a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with love, compassion, and justice with these words from the Reverend Teresa I. Soto. When I was a child, someone told me that if you hold a seashell to your ear, you can hear the ocean. But when I was in middle school, I learned that that is not what you hear. It is not the ocean. It's just the blood rushing through your ears, and that's fine. But I still wonder if a broken seashell has any good kind of song. The song of a half wave might be a measure of grief, the Bay of Fundy when it's empty, the bacteria flats in Yellowstone, steaming copper and blue, smelling of sulfur, and somehow a cradle of life, anklets of kelp forest. Even mostly empty, the ocean cannot help but brim with tokens of aliveness, reminders of beauty, and the plain, unabashed assurance that broken things, seashells, people, and in times of love, have beauty all of their own. If we can dance in the offbeat, if we can stand a little grit with the gorgeous gifts of this wide world, we light a second candle to honor the people and ancestors whose land we now occupy. The land under and around Throop is the unceded land of the Gabrielino Tongva Band of Mission Indian people. May this knowledge and awareness lead us into dismantling systems of supremacies and oppressions. We light a third candle symbolizing our watershed, the Arroyo Seco. May their waters continue to nourish life in our communities. We take a moment of silence, holding all of these in our hearts.
If you would turn in your teal hymnals, number 1074, would you join us?
It's the very last one.
We come from the fire, living in the fire, go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water, we come from the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain, go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, so is life, oh, so is life, oh, so is life, oh, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See, we wanna know clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See, we wanna know clearly. Do we know who we are? Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Turn to your neighbor and give them a warm greeting this morning.
As you turn yourself around, feel free to introduce yourself to someone you don't know. you came from a pew, go back to a pew, turn yourself around.
We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, soul is alive. Oh, soul is alive. Oh, soul is alive. Oh, soul is alive. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Oh, soul is alive. Oh, soul is alive. Oh, soul is alive. Oh, soul is alive.
I want to thank Malcolm for playing the Muppets for me and Harry Belafonte. I also want to encourage anyone who didn't pick up a hand fan, they're at the back of the room should you need them. In your order of worship, if you'll turn, this is the part we pause and take a moment to reflect our interconnectedness with the world by saying our promise to the planet. If you'll turn to that and say the words with me. As members of the family of living beings on earth, we are guided by the Unitarian Universalist principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. With hearts filled with love for it, eyes nurtured by its beauty, and minds ruminating on ways to protect its sacred and scarce resources, we promise to nurture the well-being of all life and of the planet itself. So you'll notice, if you need, numbers are on the board to the north, and the next is a responsive reading. It's near the back of the gray hymnal. It's number 547, and it's a meditation on summer. So in this responsive reading, I will read the words that are in the plain text, and then you all together chime in with those that are italicized. Now blows the wind with soft, relaxing warmth.
The sun beats down, the schools are out.
Children swarm in the playgrounds and the streets, and eager city folk, vacation bound, crowd the broad highways.
The lakes and seashores lose their solitude, and all the world seems turned to carnival.
What of ourselves? There could be now deep peace, a time for soul searching.
We might turn to examine our own lives, to sort and probe our tendencies of thought,
to sift the true from false in the things of doubt,
the beautiful from ugliness unmarked.
The sun beats down, it is a time for pause.
Even the trees seem resting for a time, as if to meditate and gather strength for the more strenuous times that lie ahead.
And shall not we? Here's the unfinished clay, half molded, that still waits on us.
To think what we have been, and as we are, still yet have more to become.
And now, I have the honor and the privilege of asking if the children want to come down for the world premiere of my self-authored book, Gigi. Okay, anybody want to guess what Gigi stands for? No, we'll see. It's the title page, and there's the copyright page, and there's the dedication to the children of Throop Church for reminding us all to stay mentally young. Once upon a time, there was a boulder named Gigi because they were made of gray granite. And Gigi was bored. Gigi was bored because they had been born 75 million years ago in the tectonic uplift that created Mount Wilson. Sigh. Gigi was bored, but the cactus were happy that it was sunny every day. And Gigi was bored even though they were surrounded by flowers and grasses and trees. But the flowers were happy, and the grass was happy, and the trees, they were happy too. You see Gigi? Self-illustrated also. Gigi was most unhappy when they saw birds that could fly away off the mountain. Gigi wished that they could travel too. One night, while Gigi sat under a beautiful blanket of stars, being bored, there was an earthquake, and a loud crack, and then Gigi felt themselves start to fall. Gigi landed in a dry stream bed, the Arroyo Seco, and was surrounded by smooth river rocks. And even though Gigi was now much smaller than they had been up on the mountain, they were happy because they were somewhere new. Year after year, Gigi sat and waited when the stream bed was dry, but every spring, winter snow melted and the rain washed Gigi further down the stream. One particular spring was very rainy, and Gigi came to the end of the stream. They tumbled off a steep cliff and fell to the shore next to the turbulent ocean. Dun, dun, dun. Cliffhanger, yeah. But Gigi loved the beach. The tide tickled, and the waves washed them into a glittering grain of sand, and every day they wound up in a new spot. You see that, Gigi? And when the tide was out, Gigi learned to sit still and appreciate the sunsets and the sounds of surf. One day, people with shovels and a truck showed up and scooped up not only Gigi, but a whole lot of sand. Where are we going now, wondered Gigi. When the truck stopped and dumped Gigi out, they were surrounded by mountains of sand in beautiful colors. Gigi was in a foundry, a place that uses very, very hot heat to melt sand, and Gigi was melted and then poured out. Gigi has been transformed. They are now a gorgeous glass gem, and they're very happy to live with you. So this is not the end. The children are going to go with Faith and a bag full of gorgeous glass gems, or Gigis. You all get them later too. And we send them on their way to the children's hour by singing them out. The orders are in your word of service.
For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be.
And now we turn to someone else's story. Our pondering is by Jennifer Sweeney, and thankfully it is being read by Dre.
I don't have to remind you of destruction, of how far away from origins we travel each day. But consider the prismatic faith that led the first Iraqi to alchemize an ashy sand in mantle heat, leaden rod dripping with, what to call it? Not sand nor fire, but honey cooled to stone, glass. Consider the weight of that glass bead in his palm, the moment when only he understood what he'd made. Centuries later, an Egyptian artisan poured the iridescent lava into molds. Think symmetry, cascade, gradation. Think juice glass, vase. Swirled with ochre, cobalt, and haloed of its own inner beam, mixed with uranium, it glowed the eerie citron of beetle swarms in black light. Follow that molten glass to Rome, where it became blown breath, a pipe offered to the fire. How intimate as the crafter gathered the air in his lungs and sent it fluted, dragon-like, toward what matter was rapidly going solid, a single exhale to expire, small death, blown bowl.
I'm like one of those Japanese bowls that were made long ago. I have some cracks in me. They have been filled with gold. That's what they used back then, when they had a bowl to mend. It did not hide the cracks, it made them shine instead. So now every old scar shows from every time I broke, and anyone's eyes can see I'm not what I used to be, but in a collector's mind, all of these jagged lines make me more beautiful and worth a higher price. I'm like one of those Japanese bowls. I was made long ago. I have some cracks, you see how they shine, of gold. You were like one of those Japanese bowls that were made long ago. You have some cracks for sure, but they have been filled with gold. That's what they used back then, when they had a bowl to mend. It did not hide the cracks, it made them shine instead. So now every old scar shows from every time you broke, but anyone's eyes can see you're not what you used to be, but in a collection price. You're like one of those Japanese bowls. You were made long ago. We have some cracks to see. See how they shine of gold.
This is our church, and we support it by giving to it our time, our talent, and our treasure. You can give online. The link is in your order of service, or if you're here in the room, you may put something in the plate that Jacqueline will be bringing down in a moment. But if you do want it directed towards your annual pledge, please put it in a green envelope with your name on it. And one of the extra special things today, as after the offering plate has passed, Matt and Dre are going to help by bringing you the glass gems from the Gigi story. So please feel free to take either the little tiny Gigi, which is pocket-sized, or the big desktop-sized Gigi, or one of each. I've got about 1 million. The offering will now be gratefully received.
To see the world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. To see the world in a grain of sand, and heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. To see the world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower.
In a spirit of gratitude, we lift up our thanks to those supporting our worship service today. Vahe, who's running our live stream. Barbara, for offering the chalice lighting words. Dre, for reading the pondering and helping pass out with Matthew the glass gems. Faith, who's up in the children's program. Jacqueline, who served as your greeter and just collected the offering. Tom has made coffee, which we will have after the service in our foyer today because there's a wedding reception planned for the hall. Don't go in there. And Malcolm for helping with all this fantastic music, and Hillary for doing all the administration during the week. As we give thanks for the offering and all the ways that we support our troop life together, please say with me the words that are in your order of service. For the ministries of the church in our community, we bless our offering with love and hope. And you may remain seated except for the choir if you will turn to number 1009 in the teal hymnal.
There are two parts that you may pick from to sing from this. I'm going to have our choir demonstrate a little bit. There is the very bottom part in your hymnal, and that is sung by oftentimes our lower voices, but anyone can sing them. Would you demonstrate that for us? Easy. If you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, you can sing with the rest of the choir that will be singing. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. So you can pick whatever feels best for you in your space as we breathe together. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Now, I invite you to try to rest a little bit more comfortably. I can't take you all to the beach, but imagine centering yourself with your toes in nice warm sand. We'll have a minute of stillness with these thoughts. Spirit of life, may we not take for granted the air we breathe. Its inspiration fuels our bodies and our minds. Help us not to curse the warmth of the summer sun. Remind us that winter's cold will someday return. Teach us to care for the vast and powerful oceans, whether they're filled with gentle waves or stormy seas. And let us see the world in a grain of sand, each minuscule boulder representing a moment of time, some dull, some sparkling, both light and dark in turn, seemingly solid, but always shifting, just like our lives.
could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you. If I could make days last forever, if words could make wishes come true, I'd save every day like a treasure, and then again I would spend them with you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them. I've looked around enough to know that you're the one I want to go through time with. If I had a box just for wishes and dreams that had never come true, the box would be empty except for the memory of how they were answered by you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them. I've looked around enough to know that you're the one I want to go through time with. If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them. But I've looked around enough to know that you're the ones I want to go through time with.
And so if you couldn't quite see, Malcolm has graciously allowed me to decorate the piano top with some seashells and a timer, a sand-filled half-hour glass, and I've turned it on its side, essentially stopping time so we can take a moment together. I want to start with a cartoon. I have to describe it because the topic is faithful imagination. So picture this. A person is sitting on a park bench with the sun setting in the distance, and they turn to the owl sitting next to them, because of course there is an owl sitting next to them on the bench, and they ask, "Why is happiness so elusive?" And the owl, who is very wise and probably Buddhist, says, "You're looking for it in the future, and it's present. Here, now." And we have an amazing brain filled with neurons that lets us time travel. We constantly go back in time, ruining things that we did and events that we missed. And the rest of the time, we're thinking about the future, possible problems, things that could go wrong. Is the beach too sunny? Is it too hot? Will it be stormy? Is the sand too hot? Are there sharks? But the one thing about time is that it is relative. Einstein said this to explain it. He said, "An hour sitting on a bench with a pretty girl feels like a minute, and a minute on a hot stove feels like an hour." I can relate to that. Hot stove, up here. So I am a teacher. And as a teacher, I'm a doer. We do everything. We have office hours, we have grading, we have lectures, we have Zooms. And during the school semester, I'm go, 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 go. I'm a very good human doing. I'm not so good at human being. But then comes summer. And no offense, but what do you all ask me? What are you doing for your summer? I've decided that I need to stop doing, although my checklist was adopt a cat, check, prepare a sermon, check. What else is there? But here we are, and we're going to think about not doing but being. So one way that I work on this is to watch their Zoom lectures from UCLA. It's the Semel Institute, and they're called Open Mind. They are fantastic because it's usually authors and scientists discussing new books, new findings. And I really liked the one on ADHD, although I was in my lab washing the dishes and grading papers while I watched it. But so what I usually do is if one or two points that they make when I'm actually listening, when I'm actually focused, if it's good, I just go buy the book. And one of the books that really did resonate with me is by Sue Smalley and Diane Winston, and it's called Fully Present. And they are a wonderful combination because Sue is a retired professor of psychology from UCLA, so she talks about the science of the brain, and I'll get to that. And Diane is a practitioner of yoga, a former Buddhist nun, so she walks us through how to do these things. But it took Sue a health scare to stop being such a doer, and I don't want any of us to have that where you have to pause and take a minute. But one of the experiments that these ladies reported on, I really particularly loved because it actually almost happened this morning. Everyone in my classroom and in our church is tethered to their cell phone. People expected me to have saw a message within the 2 minutes I was driving over here. But they used these cell phone addictions of ours to test people with two very simple questions. They had a pool of about 2,500 people, and they pinged them during the day at various hours, and they asked two questions. One, what are you doing? And it was basically, I'm busy, I'm at work, I'm driving, or I'm, I don't know, vegging. And the second question was, how do you feel? And the sad, sad news is we aren't focused most of the day. It was 47% of the time people were like, wasn't really doing anything, I was doom scrolling. And what they found was not only, it wasn't that creative right brain, they weren't daydreaming and writing sermons, they were making a grocery list, and they were missing their exit on the freeway with their car, and they were thinking about bad things in the past and worrying about the future. So what Diane and Sue said, well, the one way you can improve your day is to be in this minute, to be here, be right now. And that's another book. So the Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, I had to look up how to pronounce that name. Thich Nhat Hanh has a book called You Are Here. And in it, he argues with Rene Descartes' statement, I think, therefore I am. Because when we're thinking, we are not. We're thinking instead of being, and I suffer from this. So my one solution, my one start, my one practice, this year, kind of as a New Year's resolution, I downloaded the Calm app, and it has all sorts of content helping you sleep and visualization and nice, pretty music, but I had to just pick one thing, and I'm now addicted. I'm secretly in love with Jay Shetty. He's my guru. He has a beautiful voice, and he gives 7 or 8 minutes called the Daily Jay. And one of the things he said, which I really seized on, he said that although we preach abundance, we should have a mindset that there's plenty out there for us. It's actually helpful once in a while to stop and pretend you're limited, specifically with your time. That's what we do when we go on vacation. We say, look, we're going to Hawaii for 1 week. We've got to see every waterfall on this island. And we spend our time, we don't waste it. But most of what we do during the day is not spending it. We're not soaking in the sunshine. We're not seeking it. So I want to try to change that. And I've been pretty faithful with my Calm app, partially because he's cute. But here's the thing. What teachers do, we do 2 things. We assign homework, which is coming up right now, and we know that there's a good way to remember something. There's a couple ways. One is you make up a mnemonic. Sometime in school, you learned how to do kingdom, order, genus, species, all that, and we have a mnemonic. And the other thing is by teaching someone else, it really reinforces it. So I have come up with a mnemonic for you. Sand. Just sand. We've got symbols of sand, your glass gem, put it in your hand. That used to be sand, not from our local beaches. And the S stands for stop. We do not stop often enough during our day. We're always busy, we're always going, we're trying to wash the dishes while watching our show. You have to stop. It is your time, so take it. A, we have to accept. Maybe you're stuck in traffic. Maybe you're on a hard pew in a slightly warm church. Accept it. You can't change those things. This is your present. Be here. And now notice something. Notice something in nature, if you're outside, or some small detail. It could be the pattern on a shirt. It could be that little glass gem. You can feel the larger ones have an imperfection on the bottom. It almost feels like a worry stone, if you ever carried one of those. But wherever this little stone goes, you can put it on your desk in front of you, and when you see it, do the sand ritual. Stop, acknowledge, and accept where you are. Notice it, and then take a deep breath. At least 3. One of the things, I do teach anatomy, and there have been reports, there's studies, we breathe too much, too often, too fast, and too shallow, and it's because our minds are set to constantly get us out of danger and to look for food, and that's really old evolution. We are not in danger. We are not desperately looking for food. We don't have to walk across the tundra or the plains for hours every day just to survive. We have got it all up here in our brains. What we have to do is acknowledge that. So I hope when you leave, you take your little GG, your little glass gem, and either keep it in a pocket if you happen to have one, or place it somewhere where you'll come across it. I learned in the ADH lecture, always put your keys in the same place because I'm really good at losing them. Put it there, and every time you see your keys, you go, let's stop. Let's take this moment for ourselves. So the timer has stopped, and that is our signal. We have a closing hymn, which is number, it's on the wall.
It's number 108.
108 in your gray hymnal. And the tie-in is, be like sand. Just go with the flow.
My life flows on in endless song.
while you stay standing, please put one hand on your heart and hold the other out to someone in the room or on the live stream. Our chalice has been extinguished. We do have coffee and water in the foyer to the south for afterwards, and I hope to get to talk to you all there. Here are our benediction words. As you head out into the heart of this glorious summer, heed these words penned by H.G. Wells. We must not allow the clock and the calendar to blind us to the fact that each moment of life is a miracle and a mystery. Go like the sand.
I am unwritten, can't read my mind. I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending unplanned, staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. I break traditions, sometimes my tries are outside the lines. We've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the wind. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten.